Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Hello, unicorns. Welcome back. Happy Monday. I have another wonderful guest for you here today. This is my client, Keila J. Brown. And she is just a phenomenal person. I'm going to let her kind of give a little intro to what she's about here in a moment. And we met on Clubhouse several months ago. And what really stood out to me about her is that she is using her script writing to help the queer community and the Black community really tell their story on screen and to have more representation in these areas that are just so very important. So with that, welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, Keila.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. I'm so glad to have you.
So awesome.
Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yes. So hello, everyone. I'm Keila J. I am an actor, writer, visionary extraordinaire, beautiful lesbian.
Yes.
From the South of Georgia. Yes. And I'm a creative, and I'm also a matchmaker with Talkify.
Yes, which is new and amazing, and I can't wait to share with everybody how that came about, because it's something that you have been thinking about for a while, but it wasn't even like in your awareness. So
yes,
before we go all the way there, let's just share how we met. I want to hear from your perspective what it was like when we first met on Clubhouse back in I want to say February.
Yeah, I think it was February. So I was very new to Clubhouse. I actually think it might have been my first day.
Really?
I think so. I can't remember for sure, but I was still really, really new. And I just wanted to really sit in rooms with other queer people and really expand my queer circle, because most of my friends are straight. And so I remember going into your room, and I can't remember the name of the room, but it was clear that, you were some type of authority figure on confidence, and you were queer. And I was like, okay, yes, let me go into this room. And so you were talking, and I was in the room and you were giving like coaching advice and things like that. And I remember asking you about, how I'm really insecure about like the work that I'm doing, how I get really anxious. And I can't remember how the conversation went, but I remember you saying something really key. You were like, do you want to know why you're feeling this way? And I was like, yeah. And you said, it's because, you're focused on yourself. Your work isn't focused on other people. It's too small. And I was like, oh my God, he nailed it right on the head. And he did that in literally like 5 minutes of me rambling. And I was just so in awe. And I was like, this is great. I have to know this person. I have to follow this person.
Yes. I remember that moment. And I think the room was titled something like queer entrepreneurs build your confidence or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was fun. And I remember too in that moment also being nervous, like also so everyone knows I'm still a human. And I still get nervous sometimes. Like I see these things when I'm coaching, and sometimes still like I do feel a little bit nervous before saying where I really think my intuition is guiding me. And there was a moment there where I was like, I won't don't want to offend this girl because she's doing such amazing stuff, but um she might be like, okay, white boy with your like white male privilege, like, thanks, asshole. And thankfully, that's not how it went. And you responded so well. You're like, oh my God, you're right. That is exactly what's going on.
That's yeah, no, that I think that's so funny that you were so nervous because no, I was so ready to accept any and anything you had to give. And
Hmm.
what you had to give was so on point and so relevant and just spot on. So I'm very grateful that we had that interaction and obviously that we were able to continue from there.
Same, same, same. And at the time, it was really what you were working on was your script writing. And you were telling me, like, you have these scripts where you incorporate Black queer voices. And you were really nervous about it. And again, like you said, though, the nervousness was about, or the fear around it, the insecurity around it was because you were doing it really for your own sake and not showing up to serve the Black queer community.
Right.
And it's just been so fun seeing how that shift has kind of taken place, though, in our time working together over the last about 3 months now. And to see, like, you definitely are showing up in an entirely new way. So, I would love to hear from you. What do you think has been your number one shift as far as your career goes?
Oh man. I as far as career, I think the biggest thing is really just to trust in myself and trust in my gifts.
Mm,
Being that, you know, something I used to ask myself a lot when I was younger, and, sometimes now as an adult, I would say, or just, put out into the universe, why am I the way that I am? You know,
mm,
not even just like, why am I queer? Why am I a woman? Why am I a film geek, a nerd? Why do I like the things that I like? Why am I so sensitive to certain things? Um, Things that seem to be or come easily to other people. Why am I struggling with this? Um, you know, and
mm-hmm.
so now it's it's a good question that I use to empower myself. It's like, well, actually, you're different, and your your differences make you stand out, and you've never seen anyone do this, and that's why you're asking yourself these questions. It's because you really haven't been visible um, in a real meaningful way in your life. So the fact that I can represent myself and be that for other people, kind of like what you were saying, and showing up for the Black queer community. I mean, certainly we're all different. I don't speak for my entire community, but I could
Right.
certainly be, my own version of, a beacon to people who can relate to me and see me and really say, oh, I get that. I know that. I experienced that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the biggest shift, I would say. I totally trust myself. I trust that I am the way that I am for a beautiful reason.
Mm, that is so powerful. Um, yeah, because like that kind of really is what gets us stuck in insecurity too, is like, why am I this way? And this way is somehow wrong, right?
Right.
And I love seeing the ways that you've been kind of leaning into the things that you're the things that make you you and you being totally authentic. So What are some of the things that you've noticed recently that you used to kind of shy away from that you're leaning into now?
Ooh, I'm definitely leaning into new connections with other people.
Yeah.
and um I really used to hide. I really used to shy away from going on dates and dating, and just the idea of dating was a very sore spot for me. Uh,
Hmm.
just because I experienced a lot of rejection, right out of the gate. And, especially when, you know, you're just coming out of the closet, there are things you're still learning about how to approach women just figure out what's the right fit for you and the people that you're attracted to. It's a very vulnerable place to be in. So when, you're as sensitive as I am, and when you try
Hmm.
something and it doesn't work, I immediately retreated back into my shell and
Hmm.
said, you know what, this really hurts. I'm not going to do this anymore. This sucks. Bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, but now, especially starting my work with matching too, there are things that I really see and am able to connect the dots with, and understand a little bit better about people and how, human connection works. And
Mm.
I still consider myself a baby dater
Yeah.
in that world. But the difference in me now is that, okay, yeah, I may suck at dating, but the dating, you know, idea doesn't even matter. I'm a master at connecting with people. And
Oh.
that's the key there. And that's the only thing that matters is the connection. So everything else is just noise. Like, you're not a bad dater. You haven't learned some of the social norms yet. And that's okay.
Mm.
And now that I know that, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a great person. Like, I can connect with someone else who's great and be able to be open enough to see what's great about them, versus
Hmm.
before I was so focused on, God, I'm doing this wrong. Like, I suck. Like, I'm a horrible lesbian. Like, lesbians aren't going to be able to find me because I'm a femme, and I'm not going to be able to put myself out there because I'm shy. And like, no, baby girl, you're fine. You're going to attract all these things. But the
Mm.
main difference to your question, is that I'm definitely so open. I'm just open.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what do you do when you notice yourself going back to that place of closing off now?
Besides freaking out and sending spiral text messages to Coach Alex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Besides that.
Yeah, besides all that. What do I do when I feel myself doing that? Well, the key thing is that I'm able to recognize when I'm doing that, because I didn't
Mm.
know when I was doing that before.
Hmm.
So that's major. This next step, after I've realized that that's what I'm doing, it's really just trying to fix it. Um,
Wait, say
but
that
being
again, because,
still.
like, y'all, we are having a little tech issues here. Say
Okay.
the second part again. That was
Okay.
because I think there was like a nugget of gold in there.
For sure. So yeah, the next step is definitely not trying to fix it right
Mm.
away. Just
Yes.
sit there
Yeah.
and let whatever comes up for me come up, and be like, okay, well, I'm feeling a little vulnerable. I want to go back into my shell. Okay, why? Why am I feeling like this way? Why am I trying to retreat? And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just feeling a little misunderstood. Okay,
Mm.
fine. You feel misunderstood. Why do you feel misunderstood? Oh, well, she sent this text, and that was an emotional trigger because of this past experience. Oh, okay. Now that I know that, it's literally not a judgment on you. It's just something that can easily be addressed with, like, oh, that's not what I meant. And can we move forward from there? Yeah, you're fine. You don't have to hide yourself. You can just address the problem where that miscommunication happened, and you're fine. But where that starts really is honestly just being still, and then you can figure it out.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. What you're describing here is that third step of confidence, having your own back. You're describing it so, so beautifully, where y'all exactly what Keila said. Just not rushing to fix it, because that's like, then you're just compounding shame on top of yourself for like, oh, I felt something awful. Oh, something's wrong with me because I have a negative feeling. No, like that's not having your own back. That's going and being an aggressor towards yourself again. And so what she's describing of just sitting with it and saying, hey, oh, what do I feel? Why do I feel this way? Oh, and observing it and sitting in it. That is brilliant. I love how you described it.
Yes. Yeah, because before that was exactly what I was doing. I was compiling so much crap onto myself. Like, why are you like this? Why did you do it? Jab, 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 stab, 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 picking at myself. And it's like, no, just allow yourself to have some peace about it. It might be uncomfortable, but there's still peace and a discomfort. But you have to give yourself that chance.
Yeah, peace in the discomfort. Yeah, that is so good. Ooh, I love it. Um, what else? Well, since we're on the topic of dating right now, what do you think is another tip that you would share with our audience if they're really struggling with insecurity around dating?
Ooh, that's such a good question. First of all, it's totally okay to be insecure about dating.
Yeah.
It's I promise you it's okay. And you're not the only one. You're not sucking. You're not a failure just because, you're insecure. Um, Chances are, like, you know, a lot of people are, everyone is.
Right.
They're just better at hiding it. Um, but no, really, we all have our insecurities. I would say my tip as a baby dater myself, but master connector, master matchmaker, is, you okay. I actually just saw this recently. I was
Mhm.
talking about this with another matchmaker friend that I'd met. And we were talking about this idea of social masks, right? And playing dress up and really incorporating all of this extra noise in how we present ourselves to other people. And this idea is like, what do I want to say? It's like our bread and butter as queer people, of like figuring out how to present, socially acceptable faces to the public. Anyone who's
Right.
ever been in the closet, yeah, anyone who's ever been in the closet knows what I'm talking about. You figure out how to function in the world so that you're not persecuted or
Yes.
judged in any way, to really protect yourself, right? But the thing about that is, while it serves us, or it has served us in the past, it's going to get in the way of us finding that romantic connection that we really want.
Mm.
Because the first step in that is really, connecting with and fighting for yourself and advocating for your needs.
Wait,
I know
you said
personally,
it's connecting with yourself and then advocating for your needs, right?
right,
Yeah,
advocating for your needs.
love it. It cut out there a moment again, so I wanted to repeat that for everyone.
Yeah, of
Y'all,
course.
just bear with us. We're having a little tech fun.
Yes, so sorry. Some tech issues.
Love it.
But no, really advocating for your needs. For me personally, I know that when it comes to someone that I would be interested in, I would do my best to, um, you know, put my needs aside and really focus on pleasing the other person because I didn't want to lose them. I didn't want to feel that hurt or that sense of rejection. So I would immediately adapt to, what it is that they wanted. And of course relationships are give and take and such, but you should never be giving so much that it costs you 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 know
Well said.
you really have to, because you're important, and it's only going to work if you show up as your true authentic self, ready to receive other people as they are. And that's the only way you're going to be able to tell if it's a connection that's worthy of being in your life. So the biggest tip that I can say from personal experience and as a matchmaker, you just like let go of, like, really dive into the things that you're doing on your next date. Here's something really concrete you can do on your next date. Make a list, and really pay attention of the behavior that you're exhibiting as you're getting ready for that date. From choosing your outfit, from styling your hair, from putting on your makeup, or choosing your shoot, or whatever, even choosing the place or the activity. The more you can empower yourself by the choices that you make and saying, okay, I made that choice because it's authentic to me, because this is what I want to do, because this is where I can be comfortable in really showing who I am. That's what's really going to shine, not only for you and feeling good, but shining to your partner who's there to show up as themselves and really see the good in you. So that would be my main tip.
I love that. That is so good. Brilliant. Y'all,
Yay.
and if you're working on dating and you would like help from a matchmaker, Keila can really help you. But we'll remind you all at the end, of course, and put it in the show notes so that you can find her. But I love these little nuggets of gold that you're dropping here for us. This is so good. All right, I want to go also back to script writing. And because whether our listeners today are in the exact same shoes as you or not, if you are an entrepreneur in any way, you are always going into places where you are risking being rejected. We're constantly in that. And you have had to kind of change some things around how you were approaching submitting your scripts. And I would just love to hear your advice on dealing with fear of rejection.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. So when it comes to screenwriting, and this also applies to acting, I kind of used screenwriting as my getaway from the acting world whenever, I didn't get the part that I would want, or I was going on all these auditions and I was just severely fatigued. Writing was just that place to really go and just build those worlds that I wanted to see myself in, right? Um, but yeah, when it comes to rejection in writing, it's the same thing. You're not only pitching yourself as a writer and your personal experiences, but you're pitching these stories that you create, that you've spent months, years, kind of pouring your soul into these stories, right? And the answer a lot of the time is no, 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 no. And I had spent so much time on this one script. I'd spent 2 years writing this pilot episode, and I uh, um, had made it to this pitching festival competition thing that they have here in Atlanta every now and again. And so basically how it worked is you go to these different tables where there are these producers, these executives from all of these different companies, and you spend 10 to 15 minutes pitching your idea. And I had done that on that day. I'd done it 10 times. I went to 10 different executives. Yeah. Yeah. But I had researched the companies. I knew exactly where I was going. I knew exactly what I was going to say. And so I did that 10 times, and I got some great feedback, and I got some true interest in the project from 2 really big companies that it would be a dream to work with, right? And fast forward a few weeks, I get back in contact with these companies, and they say, you know what, thank you, but we're gonna say no. And I was really confused because, why did they say yes initially? Just to take the opportunity back. And so didn't have Coach Alex, was spiraling into my own self-doubt and, negative thinking. Like, they found someone so much better than me. Like, my ideas suck. They're not, they're straight executives who are never gonna understand queer stories. All of these ideas that I'm making up in my head. And so I really gave up. And didn't want to work on the story anymore, didn't want to pitch it to anyone anymore. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this. Didn't give up on writing, but just gave up on the idea that someone would ever pick up my stories. I'm just too different. They're not looking for me. And so fast forward to 2020, the pandemic, when literally no one has anything to do. We're all in quarantine. And, by the way, this when I was pitching, that was in 2019. So it's been a year.
Okay.
And yeah, we're all on lockdown. And, I've still been writing, but, haven't pitched anything. And so, okay, what do I want to do? I want to write a book. I just decide out of nowhere I want to write a book.
Love it. As one does with plenty of time in quarantine.
Right. I was like, what? I want to write a story of, that really documents, the struggle of someone who really hasn't had their big break. While they're in the struggle, not looking back, like, all of these beautiful biographies like Taraji P. Henson and Shonda Rhimes, all those stories. I wanted to write a book that someone could really see the person in it while they're in it. So I'm writing that book. But then, my mom is like, well, Keila, you should apply to grad school. You should do grad school. And I was like, thanks, Mom, but whatever. So I put that on the back burner, right? Because I always said if I wanted to go to grad school, it would be for drama. I wanted to study acting
Yeah.
and get my MFA in acting. And so I actually did take that advice. I started applying for drama schools,
Oh
not
my
for writing.
goodness. Right.
So I'm like thinking, okay, this is going to be great to put in the book, like before my big break as an actor. I'm applying to drama schools. I'm going to I'm doing all these, FaceTime auditions, with these different campuses. It's going to be fine. And by the time the pandemic's over, I'm going to be able to go to school and study acting. Ugh. But right. And so I'm doing all of this and I'm writing this book. And throughout all of it, my mom's like, well, you should just do a screenwriting program just in case. You should do a screenwriting program. I said, okay. So I'll just apply this just to get her off my back, right? And I didn't do any research. She's a research whiz. And so she was like, Keila, I have the perfect program for you. And
oh, that's wonderful.
so I know, right? She's kind of a mastermind. And so she's like, Keila, this is Emerson's remote program. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just do it here in Atlanta. And, it's a 2-year program. So, we don't know how long this thing is going to last. So maybe by the time you graduate, you can get an agent and, get into a writer's room or something. And I say, okay, sure. Meanwhile, my dream school is Columbia. And, long story short, I ended up getting waitlisted for Columbia and their acting program.
Okay.
But I find out that I got accepted into the screenwriting program at Emerson. And so I have a decision to make. And I say, okay, like this was the original plan. You really want to go to Columbia's acting program, but you're on the wait list. But I had this sure thing with Emerson. And, something in me just said, you know what, Keila, you got to go where the love is. They're sure about you. They're sure about you and what you have to offer. Columbia's great. And I loved talking to the faculty. I loved talking to the other candidates. And, I would thrive there. But, for whatever reason, they're not sure. And it just clicked that this is like, you know what? This is working out. It's a pandemic. I don't have to be there in person. Let's do it. And so I just completed my first year of grad school for screenwriting. But the main point is, in dealing with that fear of rejection, I had to reevaluate, first of all, and figure out if screenwriting was my priority. And the answer was yes. It was a priority, because even though, I had this acting thing going for me, I was still writing. And while I had given up pitching, I was still writing. And, even when I was, by the way, applying to acting schools, they said, wow, you're a writer. This was a really great essay. And I was like, well, damn, if this isn't a sign, people were saying you're a good actress, but you're a writer. And so I really listened to that. I was in a position to listen to those signs, right? And so now, armed with the year of graduate school under my belt, I've learned a lot more about screenwriting, to the point where I'm not afraid of the rejection. Because rejections, it's just going to happen. And I wish someone told me that, yes, you can have thin skin. I have very thin skin. by the way. Nothing wrong with having thin skin,
Yes.
despite what others would tell you, especially
Yes.
in our business as a creative.
Yes.
But I do wish someone had told me, look, this is personal work and it will hurt. And it's not a matter of if you're going to be rejected. It's that you are literally going to be rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. It doesn't mean you stop. It just means that your timing isn't right.
Yeah.
And my timing definitely wasn't right. I had a great idea. I had a great script. I'm going to option the shit out of that script once I graduate next year.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But my timing wasn't right. And the people that I was pitching this to weren't the right fit yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I needed that extra experience, that extra knowledge of school to get me to that point. And I would have beat myself up, before. I would have focused so much on beating myself up. No, I'm not good enough. This isn't working. If I hadn't taken that extra time to reevaluate and refocus and build myself up enough to be able to come back tenfold and say, you know what, they might say no, but who knows? One day I might not even need a yes from them. I might have my own studio, my own production company to say yes to my own shit. You know what I mean? So like I have that now and I didn't then. So don't fear rejection. Rejection is what does that even mean? It means nothing.
Yeah.
Just fear not trying. Because that sucks. Way worse than anyone saying no to you is you saying no to you so much that you live a life that wasn't meant for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And wow, what a powerful story. And what I notice through that is that the same concept that you just shared within your career has also been the shift that you have been applying to all the other areas of your life too, in order to show up more confidently. And I want to quote you here because I wrote this quote down from you because it's so freaking good from one of our coaching calls a few weeks ago. And you said this, and this is literally the same lesson that you just taught, but you were using it I think around dating, if I remember correctly. Anyway, you said, listen to this, y'all. They're either looking for this or they're not. It doesn't mean anything about my shortcomings. I'm presenting myself now instead of what I thought was required to be accepted.
Yes, that was
That is you. And because we've worked together, and many of my listeners who have been listening to the podcast longer understand now that our thoughts create how we feel. And that when we're feeling super insecure, it's because we're having certain self-judgments. And so what I really want people to be able to take away from your story today is just those thoughts, you all. If Keila can have those thoughts, you also can. And whatever you're thinking about her that you believe gives her the strength to move through it, you can also apply those same thoughts to you. They're available to you. And take from her story those thoughts and start deciding, hey, this is where I'm going. This is where I want to train my brain to live so that I can do the same amazing shit with my life where just you get to show up authentically true to you. Amazing.
Yes. That's it right there.
So good. So good. Um, what what's one of your, I don't know, favorite mindset shifts or something that you want to share with our listeners since we started working together?
A favorite. There's been so many, Alex.
Well, share a few then, whatever comes to mind.
Mindset shifts. Oh man. Okay. Um, I always go back to dating.
Yeah.
I remember, when we first met, and you
Hmm.
were, or not first met, had our first meeting,
Yeah.
and you were asking me like, oh, how comfortable do you feel like with your love life? And I was like, -1,000.
Yes, you said that.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, -1,000.
But and we've kind of already discussed some of that today, but like some of the biggest mindset shifts that I originally went into applying with my love life, I just apply it everywhere else. Um,
Hmm.
and I remember we were talking about gratitude,
Yeah.
and y'all, Brene Brown is now my distant cousin. I don't care what anyone says. Um, because I remember you telling me to watch her stuff,
Hmm.
and I did, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, that's what Alex was talking about with gratitude and leaning into that, so that
Mm.
you're not robbing yourself of joy, because our minds
Hmm.
constantly want to go to the worst case scenario, like, oh, okay, like when's the other shoe gonna drop, when's this gonna be ripped away from me, just
Hmm.
like those executives ripped that big contract deal with me to buy my scripts, and I was operating under that mindset. Okay, like something has to be wrong with this opportunity for me to have it.
Hmm.
And so yeah, when that comes to dating, it was like, no, now my mindset is okay. I'm not waiting for someone to find out what's wrong with me. I am grateful that I literally put myself out there enough to get to this point. I'm grateful that I'm showing up as myself and I feel good about myself. And that just, now I'm so relaxed in having a good time. I don't put any pressure on the damn date. Um
Yes.
Alex knows this, but I but I was so focused on finding my soulmate, y'all, and I still am, of course. But who wants that pressure of, are you my soulmate on the first date? You know, I
Right.
thought I thought that you literally, like, your soulmate just bumps into you and then you go in a corner and die. Like, that's what I would tell Alex.
Yes.
But now it's like, okay, first date. Did you have fun? Have enough
Hmm.
Yeah, have enough fun to go on a second date? Cool. We're gonna go on a second date. Did you have fun? We're gonna go on a third date? All right, cool. Did you have fun? Did you have, like that kind of thing. So a
Yes.
shift in not putting so much pressure onto any given things. But also, um, going into the matchmaking front, I was also applying that mindset. Okay, like they offered me this job, something I'm
Hmm.
perfectly qualified to do. What's wrong with it? Like something must be wrong with this.
Yes.
Like they
It's a
offer this to
fluke.
everyone.
It's a
Right.
yes.
But now I go into it and it's like, okay, not only am I grateful that, I got out of my own way just to even apply to the thing, but it's actually like well, no, baby girl, like you deserve this. You are perfectly qualified for this. And I'm having the time of my life, matchmaking and helping
Yes.
other people find each other and connect. And, I'm just, I'm, this is what talking about love does to me, y'all. I get so happy and giddy and, butterflies in my stomach and everything. And I'm not even talking about me. But
Yes.
yeah, so that's been a major mindset shift too, is A, being grateful for the things that I do for myself and the things that come my way, and B, not judging things that make themselves available to me as being, somehow flawed or out to get me just because, they're for me. They're for me because, they're just as beautiful as what my soul is reflecting. So,
Mm. Oh, I love
boom.
that. Yes. Mic drop. Oh. And what's something that you're celebrating about yourself just within this year?
Oh, that I'm still that I've been through some shit,
Ooh, yeah.
that I've really been through a lot emotionally and never gave myself a break. Um, but in all of that extra stuff, that extra noise that really, could test the strongest of us, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still me. Like I'm still a really, sensitive sweetheart individual who's still, maybe not as naive as before, but I'm not a skeptic. I'm still an
Mm-hmm.
optimist. I still believe in love. I still believe in hope and in dreams. And, I didn't turn cold to the world just because of the things that I went through. I mean, I still
Mm.
have things to work on for sure, but the fact that I'm still that little girl version of myself who just wanted to be in the matrix and run
Yeah.
around and have two brides on top of the wedding cake. Um that's me. I'm
Yes.
still her.
Yes. Aw, I love that. I love that so much. Before we I have two more things for you before we wrap up. And one of them is just it's just a really funny thing, y'all, because I like misquoted Keila in a post that I made and said, oh, Keila didn't want to sign up because my program's called the Confident Queer Program, but like and she corrected me on it. She's like, no, I wanted it. But the actual story is that when you're first signing up, you were like you avoided like saying what it was called to your parents, right?
Yeah.
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 So I
Yeah.
just that's my fault. I misquoted you, and we got to clear the air for everyone so they know.
Yeah, I don't know why. And we were unpacking, why I was nervous to tell my parents, like, oh, like
Hmm.
I'm gonna, hire this life coach who's gonna help me become more confident, but maybe not tell you about, being a lesbian and being queer and, I'm trying to like, find my soulmate and other things like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um but no, like the fact that your business was called The Confident Queer really drew me in, because that was the one area that I felt impacted literally everything else I was doing, because I was not a confident queer. Like I didn't know
Mm.
how to, as negative 1000 in my romantic life, how to even begin. Do you know? So
Yeah.
that's what drew me in. I was like, oh, the confident queer. I've never seen this before. I want that for myself. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, the parentals was the was the area where I was like, maybe I'll just omit that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And, and I love that it also gave us a topic to discuss on our consultation as well, because y'all, when we notice these things, right? If you notice that you have this urge to like hide something or not tell someone the full thing, the full story, just notice that without judgment, but like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. There is something there. If you're triggered by something, something is there worth exploring. And so we ended up like, I asked you about it, like, okay, that's interesting. Like, tell me more. Why,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
what's there for you? Why not tell your parents? And those things are so good. So I really highly recommend like the more that you can take a look at things that you're sensitive to or insecure about or triggered by, the better. Like instead of wanting to run and avoid those things, ask yourself to look at it deeper. It's so helpful. Don't miss those like golden opportunities like that.
Exactly, exactly. And by the way, my parents are like the most accepting people in the world. So it
Mm-hmm.
begs the question of, oh, wait, why am I nervous to bring this up to my parents?
Right.
So definitely worth exploring, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's just you never know what's lurking beneath those thoughts of how you're judging yourself or shaming yourself,
Yeah.
and you don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Final question, and then I want you to tell us all the places to find you.
Yes.
What does it mean to you now to be a confident queer?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so I used to think that being a confident queer meant wearing a whole bunch of rainbow capes and showing up everywhere in body glitter like it was Pride Month.
Oh my God, you must have looked
And
at my Instagram.
not that I am against that. I have been known to show up in full rainbow
I love it. Me
from time
too.
to time. I have my whole like queer drawer with shirts that say gay or lesbian or whatever, because
Mm-hmm.
people really don't be recognizing the femmes out here. Anyway. But that's what I thought. I thought you had to really externalize that piece of your identity all the
Mm,
time to be
mm,
a confident queer. And now I think a confident queer is a vulnerable queer, is a unapologetic queer, but unapologetic in the sense that, I think a lot of us are used to adopting a generally rebellious nature
mm-hmm.
to things. Like we're used to like fighting for everything. So we're like, oh, I'm sorry, you said what? What did you say? Like,
Mm,
or at least that's me, sorry. The Scorpio coming out.
yeah.
Um but you know, now it's like my confidence can be quiet. My confidence, yes,
Mm,
there are certain situations where I can, defend
mm-hmm.
my brothers and sisters when that's necessary. But now I can be quiet. Now it's like, oh, you think this about this? Well, why is that? Tell
Mm,
me tell me why. And
mm-hmm.
if they can't give me an adequate answer, it's like, okay, do I want to accept this into my energy today? No. So I'll let that person be and recognize that, you know, what they're saying is a reflection of their own journey, nothing about me. I
Yes.
don't have to own anyone else's thoughts. I don't have to own anyone else's positions or politics or um, just anything and everything under the sun. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to challenge someone when I feel like it and I feel like it's important, I trust myself to be able to do that eloquently.
Yes.
And if on another day I feel like I want to protect my peace and go about my day and hold some lucky woman's hand and go about our business loving each other as beautifully and as colorfully as we wish, then that's okay too.
Yeah.
A confident queer is literally honoring yourself, your
Mm-hmm.
needs, your desires. No desire is out of your reach.
Mm.
And just showing, just oh my god, we're so magical, y'all. We're
Yes.
so magical. All we have to do is just be magical and just show up and breathe, and that's it. Just breathe, and you make the world a better place. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, a confident queer is really, like you said, Alex. I can't say it better than you saying, just showing up and having your own back.
Yeah.
You have your own back, and that's it. It's not always a walk in the park, but I mean, it's gonna be an interesting book for
Yes.
when you're ready to publish that thing, and I don't know, get that 6-figure deal with Simon Schuster. I don't know, but
Yes, yes, yes.
so
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I really just enjoy hearing your journey. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we're at like the halfway mark together right now. And I'm just so excited for the next several months as we continue to work together. It's fucking amazing, y'all. I'm so proud of Keila. And I'm so thankful that you are here to share your story with us today. So tell everyone, where's the best place for them to find you. We'll also add this to the show notes, of course.
Of course. So you can find me on the socials. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, but I will always accept you there. Um, so on Twitter, you can find me at Keila J Brown, Keila J Brown, like the beautiful color. On Instagram, you can find me at Hey, it's Keila J, Heyits, Keila J. And if you are interested in matchmaking, I am so passionate about making my fellow queers dating experience an empowering one.
Mm.
So if you would like any more information, feel free to email me at keila.brown@talkify.com, Keila.brown@talkify.com. And I would be happy to talk to you about your love life. And even if it's not like you hiring me to be your matchmaker, let's get a coffee. Let's have a virtual date. Let's talk about love. I don't care. I'm here for you. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And y'all, I seriously could not think of a better person if you were looking to date right now and you're facing some of these insecurities, right? Like Keela's talked about. She's the one you want to go to. She's going to be able to help. She's going to be able to relate to you, and she's going to be able to help you through really connecting with those things and working on them so that you can show up and be your full authentic self and attract your partner. It's such a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I'm so excited for people to be able to have your help now in their love journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. I'm
You're
really, really
welcome.
excited.
Me too. Thank you so much for being here today. And with that, Y'all, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.